Before we start, hit that subscribe button and tell me in the comments where you're watching from. Panjshir Valley, Afghanistan. November 1983. 6 of us went on patrol. 4 came back. But here's the thing. The 2 who didn't come back, they're still sending letters home. I need to tell you this before I die, before whatever's been waiting for 41 years finally collects what it's owed. My name is Dmitri Volkov. I'm 63 years old. I live in a small apartment in Moscow. My hands shake when I pour tea. My daughter thinks it's Parkinson's. It's not. It's memory. It's knowing. You ever see your own grave? Not in a dream. Not in some metaphor. Your actual grave. Freshly dug. Dirt still soft. Your name carved into stone that shouldn't exist yet. We did. It was my second tour in Afghanistan. The war everyone knows about now, but nobody wanted to talk about then. Soviet-Afghan War. 1979 to 1989. 10 years of mountains and blood and young men who went in thinking they were heroes and came out knowing they were just meat. I was 22. Corporal Dmitri Volkov, Spetsnaz. We were the good ones, the elite. The soldiers who got sent to do the jobs regular infantry couldn't handle. We thought that made us special. Turned out it just made us visible to things that watched for exactly that kind of arrogance. There were 6 of us on the patrol. Me, Sergeant Yuri Petrov, Private Viktor Sokolov, Private Alexei Morozov, Private Pavel Lebedev, Private Andrei Kuznetsov. You don't need their life stories. You just need to know they were soldiers. Young, scared but didn't show it. The kind of men who'd share their last cigarette and take a bullet for you without thinking twice. 4 of us made it back to base. 2 didn't. But the 2 who didn't, their families still get letters, every year, on the anniversary, postmarked from Afghanistan. Let me tell you what happened. November 12th, 1983. Cold morning. The kind of cold that gets into your bones and stays there. Sun not quite up yet. Mountains purple in the distance. We got orders to patrol a valley northwest of our position. Intelligence said Mujahideen had been moving through the area. Our job was to confirm or deny. Simple recon, in and out. 4 hours max. Should have been routine. We'd done 50 patrols just like it, maybe more. You stop counting after a while. They all blend together. Walk out, walk back. File the report. Try to sleep. This one was different. Yuri felt it that morning. I could see it in the way he checked his rifle 3 times before we left. The way he looked at the mountains like they were watching back. The way he touched the photograph in his pocket. His wife, back in Moscow, pregnant, 8 months. He was supposed to rotate home in December, 3 weeks away. He didn't make it. We moved out at 0600, 6 men, standard patrol formation, 50 meters between each soldier, eyes forward, radios on. The valley was maybe 10 kilometers out, 2-hour walk if the terrain cooperated. The morning was quiet, too quiet. You know how Afghanistan mornings usually are? Birds, insects, the distant sound of goats, village life waking up. This morning? Nothing. Just our boots on rock and our breathing and the sound of gear shifting with each step. Victor noticed it first. He was walking point with Yuri. Dropped to one knee, raised his fist. We all stopped. "What is it?" Yuri whispered. Victor pointed at the ground. Even from 10 meters back, I could see it. The earth was wrong, disturbed. Large patches of dark soil in terrain that should have been all rock and dust. We moved up, looked closer. The ground was soft, recently turned. Not in one spot, everywhere. Like something had been digging across a massive area. Systematically, deliberately. "Mujahideen?" Andrei asked. He was 24. Quiet kid. Grew up on a farm in Ukraine, New soil, new earth, new when dirt had been moved. Too organized, Victor said. He knelt, touched the earth. His fingers came away black. He smelled them, made a face. Fresh, maybe 6 hours old, maybe less. What were they digging for? Pavel asked. Victor looked at him. Not digging for, digging to bury. We stood there for a moment. 6 soldiers in the middle of nowhere, looking at freshly turned earth and trying not to think about what that meant. You don't survive Afghanistan by ignoring signs. You survive by reading them. And this sign said, turn around. We're marking this position and pulling back, Yuri said. He pulled out his radio. Base, this is Patrol 7. We have suspicious terrain at... Static, loud, harsh, like the radio was screaming. He adjusted the frequency, tried again. More static. Anyone else getting signal? He asked. We all tried. Nothing. Just white noise across every channel. Equipment failure, Yuri said, but his voice said he didn't believe it. We continue to objective. Mark anything unusual. When we get back in range, we report. We kept moving, but slower now. Weapons ready, safety's off. That feeling you get when you're being watched. When the air gets thick and your skin prickles and some animal part of your brain starts screaming, run. You know that feeling? We felt it. The disturbed ground continued. Patches of it, getting more frequent, larger, like whatever had been digging was getting more confident, more aggressive, less concerned with hiding its work. Alexei was walking behind me. I heard him whispering, turned. He had his book out. Pushkin, reading under his breath. Put that away, I said. It helps, he said. Keeps my mind off. He stopped mid-sentence, staring ahead. The book fell from his hands. Blyad, he whispered. The valley opened up ahead of us, wide, flat, surrounded by mountains on 3 sides. Perfect place for an ambush, perfect place to die, and right in the center, impossible to miss. Graves, 6 of them, arranged in a perfect line, fresh dirt, dark against the pale ground, and markers, wooden crosses, too neat, too organized, too deliberate. Yuri raised his fist. We stopped. He pulled out his binoculars, scanned the ridgeline, looking for the ambush, looking for the shooters, looking for the trap. Nothing. No movement, no glint of metal, no sound, just silence. Wrong kind of silence. The kind where even the wind stops. I don't like this, Alexei said. His voice shook. Sergeant, we should... I know, Yuri said. We're going back. But first we confirm what we're looking at. Victor, Dmitri, with me. The rest of you, defensive positions. Anything moves, you light it up. The 3 of us approached. Slowly, weapons up, eyes scanning, covering angles. Every step felt wrong, like walking into a trap you can see but can't avoid. The graves got bigger as we got closer. Professional. Perfect dimensions. Perfect depth. The crosses were carved. Not professionally, but carefully. Like someone had taken their time. Like someone had cared. And there were names on them. Yuri saw his first. He stopped walking. 20 meters from the graves. Stood perfectly still. His breathing changed. Got faster. Shallower. Sergeant? I said. He didn't answer. Just stared. I moved beside him. Looked at where he was looking. The first cross. Carved letters. Cyrillic. Clear as day. Sergeant Yuri Petrov, 1952 to 1983. Sluzhil Rodiny. Served the motherland. My throat closed. My hands started shaking. I looked at the next grave. Corporal Dmitri Volkov, 1961 to 1983. Slujil Rodney, the third cross, Victor's name, his dates, his epitaph. We stood there, 3 soldiers looking at our own graves. Fresh dirt, recent digging. Today's date, November 12th, 1983. Victor touched his cross, ran his fingers over the carved letters. "How?" he whispered. "How do they know?" Good question. We weren't regular infantry. We were Spetsnaz. Our names weren't on any lists that guerrillas could access. Our tags were coded. Even our uniforms had minimal identification. We rotated through different units, different bases. Our records were classified. So how did someone in the middle of Afghanistan know our full names, our birth dates, our ranks? "This is psychological warfare," Yuri said. His voice shook. "Mujahideen trying to fuck with our heads. CIA probably. They train them in this shit. That's all this is. Mind games." But he didn't believe it. I could hear it in his voice. "Sergeant," Victor said quietly. He was standing at the far end of the graves, looking down at them. "The dirt. It's fresh, really fresh, like it was dug this morning." "So?" Yuri said. "So why?" Victor asked. "Why dig graves and not use them? Why go through all this effort just to leave them empty?" The question hung in the air, and I realized something that made my stomach turn. The graves weren't empty. I could feel it. That weight, that presence, like standing over a hole that goes down forever. Like the earth itself was watching us from below. "We're leaving," Yuri said. "Now." We turned to go. That's when we heard it. Digging. The sound of shovels hitting dirt. Metal cutting through soil. Rhythmic. Steady. Mechanical. Coming from everywhere and nowhere. We spun, weapons up, eyes scanning. Nothing. The digging continued, getting louder, faster, like multiple people working, like a crew excavating. But we couldn't see anyone, couldn't see anything. The sound was coming from the graves, from inside them, from below. "Where is it coming from?" Pavel asked. His voice cracked. He was 23, married, had a daughter he'd never met. She'd been born 2 months after he deployed. He carried her photograph in his helmet, said it kept him safe, said she was his angel. He was wrong. The digging got louder, closer, faster, like whatever was doing it had hit a rhythm, like it was excited, like it knew we were there. Yuri keyed his radio, hand shaking. "Base, this is Patrol 7. We have contact. Unknown hostiles. Request immediate." Static, loud enough to hurt. He ripped the headset off, threw it to the ground. "Anyone else?" he shouted. We all tried. Same result. White noise. Screaming. Like the radios themselves were in pain. The digging sound changed. Got different. Not metal hitting dirt anymore. Something else. Something wet. Something organic. Like hands clawing through soil. Like fingernails scraping rock. "Run!" Yuri screamed. We ran. Not tactical. Not organized. Pure panic. 6 soldiers abandoning formation and just running for their lives. The digging followed us. Stayed exactly the same distance behind, no matter how fast we moved. Like something was keeping pace, keeping us company, making sure we knew it was there. Making sure we understood we couldn't get away. You ever run for your life? Not jogging, not sprinting. Running because something behind you is worse than exhaustion, worse than pain, worse than anything your body can do to stop you. That's how we ran. Our packs bounced, our gear jangled, our lungs burned. The Afghan sun was up now. Full force, temperature climbing. But we didn't stop. Couldn't stop. We made it half a kilometer before Victor fell. 1 second he was running beside me, boots pounding, breath rasping. The next, he was on the ground, face down, not moving, not making a sound. I skidded to a stop. "Victor!" Yuri was there in seconds. We grabbed him, rolled him over. His eyes were open, wide, staring straight up at the sky. He was breathing, chest moving, heart beating, but he wasn't there, wasn't responding, just stared at nothing with this expression like he was seeing something we couldn't, something terrible. "Victor!" Yuri slapped him, hard. "Victor, snap out of it!" Nothing, just that stare, that empty, hollow, seeing something else stare. I looked at where he'd fallen, at the ground beneath him, soft, recently disturbed, darker than the surrounding soil, like something had been dug and filled in. Recently, very recently, like a grave. "We need to move him," I said. My voice didn't sound like mine. "We need to move him now." Yuri and I grabbed Victor under the arms, lifted him. His body was dead weight. Not helping, not fighting, just limp. "Alexei, Pavel, take point," Yuri ordered. "Andrei, rear guard. We move fast, but we stay together. Nobody gets left behind." We started moving, half running, half dragging Victor between us. His boots scraped the ground, his head lolled, but his eyes stayed open, stayed fixed on the sky, seeing whatever horror had grabbed him and wouldn't let go. The digging started again, louder now, more frantic, like shovels working double time, like something was in a hurry, like something was racing to finish before we got away. That's when we heard the voices, Russian voices, singing, an old soldier's song. Katyusha, the one they taught us in basic training, the one about a girl waiting on a riverbank for her soldier to come home, the one we sang when we were drunk and missing home and pretending we weren't terrified. But we weren't singing, we were running, gasping, too out of breath to sing, too scared to make noise. So who was singing? The voices got closer. Multiple people, 6 voices, perfect harmony, perfect pitch, getting louder with every step we took, getting nearer despite us running. "Sergeant," Andrei said from behind us. His voice shook. "Sergeant, you need to see this." "Keep moving," Yuri shouted. "Sergeant!" We stopped, turned, looked back the way we'd come, and there they were, 50 meters back, walking in formation, perfect spacing, perfect synchronization. 6 figures, Soviet uniforms, carrying shovels, singing. They looked like us, not similar. Not kind of. Exactly. Like us. Same faces, same gear, same height, same build, same everything. I could see my own face looking back at me from one of those figures. Could see the scar over my left eyebrow. Could see the way my helmet sat slightly crooked because the strap was stretched. Except their uniforms were dirty, covered in something dark. Soil, fresh earth, like they'd been digging, like they'd just climbed out of something. And they moved wrong. Too synchronized, too perfect, like puppets on strings, like dolls being moved by the same hand. Their eyes were wrong too, empty, black, not reflecting light, just absorbing it, just pulling it in and giving nothing back. And they were smiling, all of them, these perfect, identical smiles, not happy, not friendly, just smiles, like someone had told them to smile and they'd forgotten how. "Run!" Yuri screamed. We ran. Victor still between us. The singing got louder. The figures got closer. We could hear their boots now. Steady, rhythmic, marching, not running, not hurrying, just walking. Because they didn't need to hurry. Because they knew something we didn't. They knew we couldn't escape. The trees started. Forest, cover, concealment. Yuri screamed at us to keep going. We dove into the undergrowth. Branches tore at us. Roots tried to trip us. Thorns cut our hands and faces. We fell, got up, kept going, behind us. The singing continued. Didn't fade, didn't get quieter. Stayed exactly the same volume. Like they were right behind us. Like they were whispering in our ears. Victor suddenly came alive, thrashed, screamed. We nearly dropped him. "The graves!" he shouted. "The graves are full! We're already in them! We're already dead!" "Shut up!" Yuri hissed. "Shut up!" But Victor kept screaming, kept thrashing, kept shouting about graves and dirt and how we were already buried and just didn't know it yet. We ran for another kilometer, maybe more. Time stopped meaning anything. There was only running, only breathing, only the singing behind us that wouldn't stop. Finally, we burst out of the tree line into a clearing, and the singing stopped. Just like that. Mid-word. Gone. Like someone had flipped a switch. We collapsed. All of us. Even Victor. Gasping. Hearts hammering. Waiting for whatever came next. Nothing came. The forest behind us was silent. Normal. We could hear birds again. Could hear wind in the trees. Could hear the world being the world instead of being wrong. "Is it over?" Pavel whispered. "I don't know," Yuri said. He was crying. I'd never seen Yuri cry. Not when his best friend died in an ambush. Not when he got shot in the leg. Not ever. But he was crying now. We stayed there for 20 minutes, maybe 30, catching our breath, checking our weapons, trying to process what we'd seen. Victor sat with his back against a rock, staring at nothing, occasionally muttering, words we couldn't quite hear, words that sounded like prayers. "We need to move," Yuri finally said. "We need to get back to base. We need to report this." "Report what?" Andre asked. "That we saw our own graves? That something that looked like us was chasing us? That we heard singing from nothing? They'll think we're insane. They'll think we cracked." "I don't care what they think," Yuri said. "We report. That's the job." We picked ourselves up, started moving, slower now, more careful, weapons ready, eyes scanning. But the forest was normal. Just forest. Just trees and rocks and dirt. Just Afghanistan being Afghanistan. It took us 4 hours to reach base. 4 hours of checking over our shoulders. 4 hours of jumping at shadows. 4 hours of wondering if those things behind us were still following, still waiting, still singing where we couldn't hear. We hit the perimeter at 1500. The guards saw us coming. They raised the gate without question. We looked like hell. Uniforms torn, faces scratched, eyes wild. "Patrol 7 reporting," Yuri said to the duty officer. His voice was steady now, professional, like nothing had happened, like we'd just gone for a walk. "We need to speak to the commander. Immediately. Priority." The duty officer looked at us, looked at Victor, who was still muttering, looked at the state we were in. "Go to medical first," he said. "After the debrief," Yuri said. "That's an order, Sergeant." "This is more important than our injuries," Yuri said. "Get the commander. Now." They debriefed us for 6 hours. Separate rooms. Same questions over and over. What did you see? What did you hear? Are you sure? Could it have been heat exhaustion? Stress? Drugs in the water? Enemy psychological operations? No. 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 And no. I sat in a windowless room with a senior officer I'd never seen before. No name, no rank insignia, just a Soviet uniform and dead eyes that said he'd heard stranger stories than mine and hadn't believed those either. "Corporal Volkov," he said, "I need you to understand the position we're in. 6 soldiers report finding graves with their own names. Report being chased by, what? Copies of themselves? Do you understand how that sounds? I know what I saw, I said. What you think you saw, he corrected. The mind does strange things under stress, especially in combat conditions, especially in Afghanistan. We all saw it, I said. All 6 of us. Same thing. Ask them. I am asking them, he said, and they're all telling me the same impossible story, which means either you all experienced the same hallucination, or you're all lying, or... He stopped, lit a cigarette, offered me one. I took it. Or it's real, he said quietly. And if it's real, we have a problem. What kind of problem? The kind that gets soldiers killed and bases shut down and entire regions declared off limits, he said. The kind we can't explain, can't fight, can't even acknowledge exists. He stood up, walked to the door, stopped. We're sending another patrol to the valley, he said, to verify your report. If they find what you say you found, we'll reevaluate. If they don't, this conversation never happened. Understood? Understood. They kept us at the base, confined to barracks, not arrested, not punished, just held, while they checked our story, while they decided if we were crazy or dangerous or telling the truth. We stayed in one room, the 6 of us, not talking much, just sitting, thinking, trying to process what had happened. Victor was the worst. He wouldn't eat, wouldn't sleep, just sat on his bunk and stared at the wall. Sometimes he'd whisper things. Numbers mostly, measurements, dimensions. 6 feet long, he'd say. 3 feet wide, exactly. Perfect. Like they knew. Victor, I'd say. Stop. They knew our sizes, he'd continue. They measured us. They dug graves that fit precisely. How did they know? Nobody had an answer. Pavel tried to keep spirits up, told jokes, shared stories, talked about his daughter, how he couldn't wait to meet her, how she was going to grow up in a better world, how this was all just a bad day and tomorrow would be better. Alexei read his Pushkin, quietly, to himself. Sometimes his lips would move with the words, but no sound would come out, like he was praying, like the poetry was a shield against something too terrible to face without it. Andrei cleaned his rifle, over and over, taking it apart, putting it back together, checking every piece, making sure it worked, making sure it would fire when he needed it. Even though we all knew rifles wouldn't stop what we'd seen. Yuri wrote letters, to his wife, to his unborn child, page after page, writing everything down, every detail, like he was making a record, like he knew he might not get to tell the story himself. And me? I just sat there, trying to remember what normal felt like, trying to convince myself that yesterday morning, before the patrol, things had made sense. The world had rules. Reality was stable. But I couldn't convince myself. Because I'd seen my own grave, had seen my name carved into wood, had seen the fresh dirt waiting, and somewhere deep down, I knew. That grave wasn't a threat. It was a promise. The other patrol came back at midnight, 2 days after we'd been there. We heard the commotion outside, shouting, running, the sound of men who'd seen something they couldn't unsee. The door opened. The nameless officer stood there. His face was different now, gray, older, like he'd aged years and hours. You were telling the truth, he said. What did they find? Yuri asked. The graves, the officer said. Still there. 6 of them. Your names, your dates, and... He stopped, swallowed. And what? I asked. 2 of them aren't empty anymore, he said quietly. 2 of them have bodies. The room went cold. We all stood up. "That's impossible," Pavel said. "We're all here. We're all alive." "I know," the officer said. "But the patrol found 2 bodies, in Soviet uniforms, dead for at least 3 days based on decomposition. But you just went there 2 days ago. The timeline doesn't work. Nothing about this works." "Whose graves?" Yuri asked. His voice was barely audible. The officer pulled out a paper, read from it. "Private Alexei Morozov, Private Pavel Lebedev." Alexei's book hit the floor. Pavel made a sound like he'd been punched. "That's not possible," Pavel whispered. "I'm here. I'm right here." "I know," the officer said, "which is why we're keeping this classified, which is why none of you will speak about this to anyone, ever. Understood?" We understood. What choice did we have? But that night, around 0300, I woke up to someone screaming. I ran outside. Half the barracks was there, all looking at Alexei's bunk. Empty. His boots were still there, laced, tied, sitting at the foot of his bed like he'd just stepped out of them. His rifle was propped against the wall. His pack was on the floor. His book, his precious Pushkin, was open on the blanket. But Alexei was gone. We searched the entire base, every building, every vehicle, every hole in the ground big enough to hide a body, every closet, every storage room, every place a person could be. Nothing. The guards at the gate said nobody had left. The patrol logs showed no movement. The cameras, yes, we had cameras back then, showed nothing. Just Alexei in his bunk. Then static for 3 seconds. Then an empty bunk. 3 seconds. That's how long it took for him to disappear. The next night, same time, 0300. Pavel, same thing. Boots still there, rifle propped, pack on the floor. The photograph of his daughter, his angel, sitting on his pillow. But Pavel was gone. This time I was awake. I was sitting watch outside their room, making sure nothing happened, making sure they were safe. I didn't see anything, didn't hear anything. 1 second, Pavel was breathing in his bunk. I could hear it through the door, that soft sound of someone sleeping. The next second, silence. I opened the door. Empty bunk. Pavel gone. 3 seconds on the camera. Static. Then nothing. The army said they deserted. Both of them. Went AWOL. Probably trying to escape to Pakistan. Probably got killed by Mujahideen. Bodies never recovered. Happens all the time in Afghanistan. They listed them as missing in action, sent letters to their families, classified the incident, moved on. But they didn't desert. I know they didn't. Because where would they go? How would they leave? Why would they abandon everything? Boots, weapons, identification, and walk out into the Afghan wilderness with nothing. They didn't leave. They were taken, collected. The graves were filled. 4 of us remained. Victor, Andrei, Yuri, me. 4 soldiers who'd seen something we couldn't explain and couldn't forget. 4 men waiting for our turn. They kept us at the base for another week, watching us, making sure we weren't going to disappear too, making sure we weren't going to talk. Then they split us up. Different units, different bases, different countries. They scattered us across the Soviet military like we were contaminated, like we carried something that could spread. Victor got sent to East Germany. Andrei went to Cuba. Yuri rotated home early. His daughter was born 3 weeks after he got back. He named her Katya, after the song, the one we'd heard in the valley. And me? I stayed in Afghanistan. Different base, different mission, but still Afghanistan. Like they were testing something, like they were seeing if it would follow me, if it would come back. It did. Not right away. Not for years, but it came back. Victor 1st, 1987. 4 years after the patrol, I got a letter from his sister. Said Victor had killed himself, drank antifreeze, left a note that said, "The singing won't stop." I tried to contact her, tried to find out more, but she'd moved. No forwarding address, no phone number. Like she'd disappeared too. Then Andrei, 1993. 10 years. Fell from his apartment building in Moscow. 10 stories. The police said suicide. Said he climbed over the railing and jumped. But his windows were locked from the inside. All of them. And his boots, his old army boots from Afghanistan, were still in his apartment, sitting by the door, laced, ready to wear. How do you climb over a railing and fall 10 stories if you're locked inside? Yuri lasted until 2001. 18 years. Heart attack. He was 49, too young, too healthy, no history of heart problems. Just went to bed one night and didn't wake up. I saw him a week before he died. We met in Moscow, had drinks, talked about nothing, about everything. About that day in the valley. He looked terrible, thin, gray, like he'd aged 20 years instead of 18. "It's coming, Dmitri," he said. "I can feel it, every night. That sound, that digging, it's getting closer." "What digging?" I asked. "From the grave," he said. "My grave. It's waiting. It's been waiting since 1983, and now it's time." I told him he was stressed, told him to see a doctor, told him it was just PTSD, just the war catching up with him. He smiled, that same empty smile I'd seen on the figures in the valley. "You'll understand soon," he said, "when it comes for you, when you hear your name being called from underground, when you feel the dirt waiting." He died 3 days later. That left me, last one, the only survivor. For years, I thought maybe I was the exception. Maybe whatever had taken the others had forgotten about me. Maybe I'd gotten lucky. But luck doesn't exist. Not in this story. The letters started arriving 3 years after Yuri died, 2004. Every year on November 12th, the anniversary. 2 letters, one for Pavel's daughter, one for Alexei's mother, postmarked from Afghanistan, from Panjshir Valley, from a post office that doesn't exist anymore, from a place that's been a war zone for 40 years. But the letters are real. I've seen them. The families showed me. Pavel's handwriting, telling his daughter, now a grown woman with children of her own, that he loves her, that he's sorry he missed her childhood, that he's waiting for her, that someday they'll be together in the place where the singing never stops. Alexei's handwriting, telling his mother, now in her 80s, that he's okay, that he's with friends, that he's still reading Pushkin, that the poetry helps, that it keeps the darkness away, that he'll see her soon. The families don't understand. How could they? They think it's some kind of cruel prank, some kind of psychological torture. They've reported it to authorities, to police, to military officials. Nothing happens, because officially, those men are listed as KIA, missing in action, dead. You can't get letters from dead people. But the letters keep coming. Every year. Same date, same handwriting, same postmark from a place that shouldn't be able to send mail. And now, this year, 2024, 41 years after that patrol, I got my own letter. 4 of us made it back. Victor, Andrei, Yuri, me. Victor killed himself in 1987, drank antifreeze, left a note that said the singing won't stop. Andrei died in 1993, fell from his apartment building. 10 stories. The police said suicide, but his windows were locked from the inside, and his boots were still in his apartment. Yuri lasted until 2001. Heart attack. He was 49. Too young. But I saw him a week before he died. He looked 80. Couldn't sleep. Said he kept dreaming about digging, about soil under his fingernails, about singing. That leaves me. I'm 63. I've outlived all of them. But I know what's coming. I can feel it. That same feeling from the valley. That presence. That weight. The singing started again last week. Faint at first. Like I was imagining it. Like my mind was playing tricks. But it got louder. More distinct. More real. I hear it in the walls of my apartment. In the pipes. In the spaces between sounds. That same song. Katyusha. Perfect harmony. Perfect pitch. 6 voices singing together. I know those voices. Yuri. Andrei. Victor. Alexei. Pavel. And one more. One I don't recognize yet. But I will. Soon. It'll be mine. I stopped sleeping 3 days ago. Can't. Because when I close my eyes, I'm back in that valley, standing over my grave, looking down at fresh dirt, smelling earth and something else, something organic, something wrong, and I can feel hands, cold hands, grabbing my ankles, pulling me down, into soil that shouldn't be soft, but is, into darkness that shouldn't be deep, but goes on forever. I wake up screaming. My neighbors have complained. They think I'm losing my mind. Maybe I am. Maybe that's what this is. Maybe 41 years of carrying this secret has finally broken something inside me that can't be fixed. But I don't think so. Because yesterday, I checked my mailbox. There was a letter. Addressed to me. No return address. But I knew. I knew. My hands shook as I opened it. The paper inside was old, yellow, like it had been sitting somewhere for decades, waiting. The handwriting was mine. My exact handwriting. Every loop, every slant, every detail. It said, "Dmitri, stop running. We've been waiting. Your grave is ready. The dirt is fresh. Come home. We're singing for you. Can you hear us? We're getting closer. Soon you won't be able to ignore us. Soon you won't have a choice. The ground is soft here. The earth remembers your shape. We dug it perfectly. Just for you. Just like yours was dug for us. It's fair. It's right. It's time. We'll see you soon. Bring nothing. You won't need anything where we're going. Just walk outside. Just follow the singing. Just come home. Your brothers are waiting. Your grave is calling. November 12th is coming again. 42 years. That's long enough. That's enough running. That's enough hiding. We found you. We've always known where you were. We were just waiting for the right time. That time is now. Can you hear us singing? We're getting louder. We're getting closer. We're almost there. Soon we'll be knocking. Soon we'll be inside. Soon we'll take you home where you belong. Where we all belong. In the valley. In the graves. In the dark. In the singing. Come home, Dmitri. Come home. I burned the letter. Watched it turn to ash. But the words stayed, printed in my mind. Carved there like names on crosses. The singing is louder tonight. Right outside my apartment door. I can hear it through the walls, through the floor, through the ceiling, everywhere. I've locked every door, every window, pushed furniture against the entrance. Like that will help. Like locks meant anything to what I saw in Afghanistan. But I had to try, had to do something, had to pretend I had control. I don't have control. I never did. From the moment we found those graves, from the moment I saw my name carved in wood, I was claimed. We all were. And they've been collecting us. One by one. Slowly, patiently, taking their time. Because they have all the time in the world. Because they're already dead. Because they're waiting in graves that were dug before we got there. My daughter thinks I'm paranoid. My neighbors think I'm crazy. My doctors think I have dementia. They all think the same thing. Old soldier. Too much war. Too much trauma. Brain broken by things he saw and did. They're wrong. I'm the sanest person I know. Because I understand something they don't. I understand that some graves don't wait for you to die. They just wait for you to arrive. They just wait for the right time to call you home. And it's time. I can feel it. November is coming. November 12th. 42 years since that patrol. 42 years since we found those crosses with our names. 42 years since the earth opened up and showed us where we'd end up. The digging started tonight, around 2100. That same sound. Metal hitting dirt. Steady, rhythmic, mechanical. But I'm on the 4th floor of an apartment building in Moscow. There's no dirt to dig. Just concrete and rebar and civilization. But I hear it anyway. Coming from below, coming from under my floor, like something is excavating through the foundation, through the parking garage, through the earth beneath the city. Coming up, coming for me. I called the police. They came. 2 young officers who looked at me like I was their crazy grandfather. They checked my apartment, checked the hallways, checked with the neighbors. Nobody else heard anything. Of course they didn't. This is for me. Only me. Last one. Last survivor. Last name on the list. The officers left. Told me to get some rest. Told me to call if I heard anything else. Their eyes said, "Don't call again, old man. We have real problems to deal with. They don't understand. This is the realest problem there is." The singing is getting louder. I can hear words now, not just the melody. Actual words. In Russian. 6 voices harmonizing. Telling me to come outside. Telling me to stop hiding. Telling me the grave is waiting and the earth is soft and the worms are ready. And it's time, Dmitri. It's time to come home. I'm writing this on my laptop, going to upload it to a server, to a website, to anywhere that will preserve it, because someone needs to know. Someone needs to understand what happened in Panjshir Valley in 1983. What happens to soldiers who see things they shouldn't, who learn truths they can't unlearn, who find graves with their names and think they escaped. We didn't escape. We just got more time. And now my time is up. The cold air just started. That same freezing wind that came from nowhere in the valley. That same impossible cold in a place where cold shouldn't exist. My apartment is heated. It's November in Moscow. The radiators are on. But I can see my breath. Can see frost forming on the windows. Can see ice crystals spreading across the floor. The temperature is dropping. Fast. Like something is pulling heat out of the air. Like something is making space for itself. For them. The door handle is turning. I locked it. 3 deadbolts. Heavy security door. But the handle is turning anyway. Slowly. Deliberately. Like someone with all the time in the world is testing it. Seeing if I'm watching. Seeing if I understand. I understand. They're here. All of them. I can see shadows under the door. 6 pairs of feet. Standing perfectly still. Perfectly aligned. Waiting. The singing is so loud now it's painful, like someone is singing directly into my ears, like the sound is coming from inside my skull. I don't want to open the door, but I think I have to. I think that's how it ends. You hear your name, you hear the singing, you open the door, and then the lock clicked. I didn't touch it, didn't turn it, but it clicked anyway. The door is opening, slowly, inch by inch. I can see the hallway beyond, dark, empty. No lights working even though they were on 5 minutes ago. And standing in that darkness, 6 figures. Soviet uniforms, dirty, covered in soil, shovels in their hands. They're smiling, all of them. Those same empty smiles, and they're looking at me, all at once. 6 sets of eyes that shouldn't be able to see but can. 6 faces that look like mine, like Yuri's, like Victor's, like all of us. Doppelgangers, grave things, whatever they are. They're here, and they're waiting for me to join them. One of them steps forward. It's me, younger, wearing my old uniform from 1983, looking exactly like I did back then. Except for the eyes. The eyes are wrong. Empty, black, absorbing light. It extends a hand. I see dirt under its fingernails. Fresh dirt. Wet. Like it's been digging recently. Like it's been preparing my grave. Dmitri, it says in my voice. My exact voice. It's time. We've been waiting. 42 years. The grave is ready. Come home. I'm standing up. I don't want to, but I'm standing anyway. My body moving without permission, walking toward the door, toward them, toward whatever comes next. The singing is everywhere now, inside me, around me, through me. 6 voices, soon to be 7. My laptop is still open, still recording. I hope someone finds this, hope someone reads it, hope someone understands. If you're reading this, if you're military, if you ever get orders to patrol Panjshir Valley, if you ever see graves with names, if you ever hear singing in places where there should be silence, run, don't investigate, don't stop, don't try to understand. Just run and keep running and never look back. Because some graves don't need bodies. They just need names. And once they have your name, once they carve it into wood and dig the hole and measure you for the earth, you're already dead. You just don't know it yet. They're taking my hand now. Cold. So cold. Like touching ice. Like touching death. And I can smell it. That smell from the valley. Fresh earth. Recent digging. A grave waiting. My grave. They're leading me toward the door, toward the darkness beyond, toward the place where the singing comes from. And I'm going. Because I don't have a choice. Because this was always going to happen. Because the grave was dug in 1983 and it's been waiting ever since. We're in the hallway now, moving toward the stairs, 6 of them surrounding me, protecting me, guiding me, taking me home, down the stairs. 1 flight, 2, 3. The building is empty. Nobody coming out to see, nobody asking questions. Like we're invisible. Like this is happening in a space between spaces. Ground floor, out the door, into the Moscow night. And I can see it now. In the street outside my building, a hole in the ground, exactly 6 feet long, 3 feet wide. Fresh dirt piled beside it. My grave, brought from Afghanistan, from that valley. Somehow, impossibly. But there it is, and at the head, a wooden cross, carved, careful. Corporal Dmitri Volkov, 1961 to 2024. They're walking me toward it, still singing, still smiling, still holding my hands with their cold, dead fingers. And I'm not fighting. Because what's the point? I've been dead since 1983. I've been buried since the moment I saw that cross. This is just making it official. I'm at the edge now, looking down into my grave, into darkness, into earth that goes deeper than it should. And I can see them down there. All of them. Alexei with his book. Pavel with his daughter's photograph. Victor with his hands covered in dirt. Andrei with his boots. Yuri with his letters. Waiting. Singing. Calling me home. They push me. I fall. And the last thing I see before the earth closes over me is 6 faces looking down, 6 versions of myself, smiling. The last thing I hear is singing. Perfect harmony. 7 voices now. And then